over 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, way up from the first 12 games
it's cold,
of the year.
Colleen. I'm just telling you, that's what happens.
He's also the first player to rush for at least 170 yards and 2 or more touchdowns in consecutive games since our own LaDainian Tomlinson back in 2006. But you know what? It was that Thursday night game where he just went wild on the Jaguars, and nobody could tackle him. He has forced so many missed tackles.
They weren't tackling him low.
No.
How would you tackle that big dude up top, man? You're gonna make him look like a rag doll, man. Just throwing guys to the side. That's
true.
ridiculous. You cannot attempt to tackle this kid that way. He's just too big.
How do you defend him?
How do you defend him?
How do you stop Derrick Henry?
Gang tackle.
That's how you gang tackle him. Try to force some turnovers, something. But they got to figure out a way to stop Derrick Henry. I think this game is going to come down to, when you look at the Washington Redskins versus the Tennessee Titans, to me this game is going to come down to the pressure moments, right? When I say pressure moments, a 3rd down and 3, when Washington decides to pressure Marcus Mariota, can he make the play? And it seems like when you look at the numbers, Marcus Mariota has been a baller under pressure this year. He has a 95.5 passer rating under pressure, and when he's not under pressure, it's lower. 91.2 is one of the only quarterback in the National Football League that plays better under pressure, and I think this is what makes this kid a franchise quarterback. And I always tell you guys, I don't want my $20 million quarterback performing when everything is going well. I want my $20 million quarterback to be the difference in close games, and it seems like what's happening now, Marcus Mariota has learned that energy of how to be the difference in close games. And then you talk about him being great against pressure. Washington pressures teams the most in the National Football League. They pressure quarterbacks almost 33% of the time. So to me, this game is going to come down to pressure moments.
Well, this game is also going to come down to time of possession, right? And because both teams are struggling to throw the football right now, but specifically for the Tennessee Titans, they need to be able to win the time of possession battle. And we asked the question, can they stop Derrick Henry? Can they? Yes. Will they? No. Because once upon a time, this Washington Redskins defense was good. They were one of the toughest run defenses that this league had to offer. They held Saquon Barkley to 38 yards rushing the first time they met him. They've held Zeke Elliott to 33 yards rushing. But most recently, the second time they played Saquon Barkley, he beat the brakes off of them, ran for 170 yards on just 14 carries, averaged over 12 yards every time he touched the football.
What do you think is happening with this defense?
I'll tell you exactly
early in the season, these tackles were holding people up. What do you think is happening?
Those guys got worn down. Jonathan Allen did not play a full season. We talked to D'Angelo Hall about this on Good Morning Football the other day. Jonathan Allen did not play a full season last year, so this is his first full NFL season. Daron Payne, they were leaning on him a lot. So a lot of these big body guys started to wear down. What they tried to do is then rotate other guys in. Right around that Eagles game is when they started to try and get it. And just those guys haven't been able to do it. Matt Ioannidis, another guy up front, he's been injured. They're just a banged up defensive front. This is going to have to be a dig deep. Whatever pride you've got, whatever you can muster for this game, you've got to do it, because the spirit's got to be willing when the body isn't. And I'll tell you one other thing.
That was a great quote.
That was a great quote.
Sorry, dog. That was dope.
I like that. I
like that. Showstopper right here.
Great show,
Mike Garafolo.
One other thing about Derrick Henry and Jim Wyatt, who now writes for the Titans for their website, which doesn't mean that you can't educate. I mean, those guys aren't necessarily reporters breaking news, but you can educate and you can inform. Wrote a great story this week about Derrick Henry soliciting advice from Eddie George, saying, what do I need to do here? And Eddie George flat out laid it out for him. Let me get the quote here. This is from Henry saying, he shot me straight. He told me I needed to finish runs. I needed to be more physical, make the defense pay.
Be big.
Told me I wasn't playing to my potential and I could play better. That's the stuff I needed to hear. Credit to a young guy who could have said, I know everything. You don't have to tell me anything. Actually seeking that advice. By the way, if any young guys want it, we got some here. We got some here.
All over the place.
Call Colleen.
I give great advice, let me tell you. Well, Derrick Henry, now the offense is running through him, and it's working out real well for the Titans. Another key in the Titans' success has been their defense, too. They're second in points allowed, 5th on 3rd down, and have the league's best red zone defense.
That's when you need them.
They have been, Mike Rabel's done a really good job with them. Though big picture, losing Logan Ryan, that's going to hurt. Might not see it this week, but next week you will. Tennessee right now, 8-6, currently the 7th seed. They're chasing the Ravens, who are holding on to that 6th seed and that final wild card spot. They need a win tonight if they want to make it to the postseason for the first time since 2014. The Chargers are currently the 5, but they could still end up with the top seed.
Yes,
It's crazy how that works. So let's head out to L.A. for Ravens Chargers, and we welcome in our Steve Weich for more. Hey, Steve, what's up?
Hey, Colleen, as you can see, it is very foggy out here, kind of masking what's really out there, and it's kind of like what the Ravens option offense is doing to the NFL. And speaking of Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn, he said you see old school triple option and veer tendencies with what the Ravens are doing with their offense, in particular in the running game. He said it looks like what Denver was doing with Tim Tebow years ago. Now, in speaking to Chargers defenders, that they said that means they have to play specific assignment football. You get the dive man, you get the quarterback, you get the pitch man. It goes back to those basics. Now, safety Derwin James, the outstanding Chargers rookie, he has played against Lamar Jackson twice in college. James was at Florida State. Jackson was at Louisville. And he said the thing about Jackson is he is so fast, it'll be difficult for the Chargers to use an actual spy on him because the spy might not be able to catch up to him. So they have got to stay fundamentally sound in their open field tackling and their technique. And what James said about that, also about Lamar Jackson, they're going to treat him like a running back. And as Mike Robb knows, having played quarterback in these situations, you treat a quarterback like a running back, that is code. That means every time they see him, they are going to put a lick on him. And if they can get enough hits on him, they think that could distract him enough to possibly coughing the ball up.
Ooh, Steve, I cannot wait for this game. I wonder if it's going to be like a fog bowl situation. When is that going to burn off out there?
I played one of those games, a fog bowl game in college. It was crazy.
Yeah? Okay, so the Chargers right now, let's focus on them. They've won in Pittsburgh, they've won in KC, but where do you kind of stack them in the AFC? Are they the favorites now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should be the favorite right now in the AFC, which is crazy because they still
over Kansas City?
Possibly. Yeah, they just beat Kansas City.
Yeah,
what you mean?
I know.
But they're also
they're
getting Melvin Gordon back too, so they're getting him back at the right time, and that's just another weapon for Phillip Rivers and this offense. And they're getting them back with a team that has a ton of confidence right now. And he's been their bell cow before he got injured. He was having a Pro Bowl season. He was setting the tone for this offense. He was having a great year. So I'm glad that he's back now. They get to ease him back into the offense at a time while this offense is playing extremely confident.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, this is the year. I think it's for the Los Angeles.
This is the year?
This is the year because they finally have this dominant run game. I hope Melvin Gordon returns and he's healthy and he's sure of himself so he can get back to what he was doing early in the season. But Phillip Rivers is playing out of his mind. Yeah. He should be talked about in the MVP category a lot more. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to get it, but Phillip Rivers, check some of this stuff out. First of all, last week against Kansas City, in that last drive, he was clutch. 4 for 7, 8.7 yards per pass attempt, 8.1 during the game, 1 TD and 126 passer rating on the last drive.
And he did it without Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon.
He did it
without Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon.
Boom. If Patrick Mahomes, if there was no Patrick Mahomes this year, we'd be talking about a different MVP race between Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers.
We definitely would. But Phillip Rivers, I mean, you don't look at him as a mobile quarterback, but he's the least sacked quarterback in the National Football League. When teams try to blitz him, he makes you pay. When you don't blitz him, he continues to make you pay. So for me, I had to show some love to Phillip Rivers because I just don't think he's getting the national attention that he should. And yes, he is a Hall of Famer.
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
First ballot Hall of Fame.
Exactly, Reggie. I appreciate it.
Wow, I don't know about that.
Flipping it around to the other side.
First ballots are tough to come by.
It is. I mean,
real quick on the Ravens side of things, what's going on with John Harbaugh?
John Harbaugh going to get a contract extension. Team announcing last night that they are working on it. We mentioned this in the first hour. What I want to add here is that I'm telling you, had he been fired, there would have been a scramble amongst teams to at least talk to John Harbaugh. They would have been ready to pounce. The Denver Broncos I'm looking at, the New York Jets, I believe both teams as the season went on, not surprised by this, have other guys in mind as well. But trust me, John Harbaugh would not have been out of a job for long. The Ravens realize what they have in him. We'll see how long that contract extension winds up being. Got a short one previously. It could be a multi-year one at this point. But great job by him and his staff this season, turning it around with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, switching things up like that on a dime. Awesome stuff by them and this Ravens offense. offense. Okay, how about this? Been there, done that. Well, not if Drew Brees has any